have spoken, and it is Angela Merkel. Now the country and its allies, as well as business partners, including Ghana, awaits the formation of a new coalition government and its impact on those relationships. Thomas Sparrow joins us as usual from Germany. Thomas, good to have you once again, and congratulations to you as Germans. Now, we've had a bit of reactions from our correspondents who have been on the ground, but from your own politically analytical perspective and generally speaking, what has the reactions been from Sunday?
Well, that obviously depends on what your political position is, what party different people in Germany tend to support. But I would say that in general, there are three big elements that most people here in Germany have been watching. The first one is the result that the traditional parties in Germany had, the conservative bloc of Angela Merkel on the one side and the Social Democrats on the other, and in particular what happened to them, because they both had very bad losses, even though obviously the conservative bloc of Angela Merkel remained as strongest party. That's one element that most people here in Germany are interested in. A second element that people are obviously very interested in is what happened to the Alternative for Germany, the party described as populist and far-right that entered the parliament for the first time. In fact, people here have been saying that it's the first time in decades that a party described in this way enters the German parliament. So those are obviously two key areas that most people have reacted to, and that obviously also will influence in a way what comes next, because the election in Germany is only the first step, if you will. After you have the results, the next step is important, and that next step is, on the one hand, forming a new coalition government, on the other hand, knowing how exactly the parliament will be and what parties will be in opposition.
Take us a bit more into the details of the dynamics of the CDU having to form a coalition government, so we can have a better understanding of what's at stake, what chances they are, and how possibly the parties will come together. What parties will be coming together in this instance?
Well, that's very important, because in Germany you don't have a system where one party or one person wins the election and then can form a government on his or her own. You need to form certain coalitions. For the past 4 years here in Germany, we've had a grand coalition among those two parties that I mentioned at the beginning, the two traditional parties, the Conservative Bloc and the Social Democrats. But after the Social Democrats had the worst result in a national election in modern Germany for them, they decided they were not going to go into another grand coalition, and they wanted to become the strongest force in opposition. So that basically leaves the Conservative Bloc trying to find which partners it can work with. And there's one sort of concept that everyone here in Germany is mentioning, and that's the possibility of a so-called Jamaica coalition. Jamaica, because the parties that could form the coalition have the colors of the Jamaican flag. So black for the Conservative Bloc, the Greens, and yellow for the Liberals. That said, it will be a very difficult negotiation, Gifty, because some of these parties can't agree on many things. In fact, the Greens, for example, and the Liberals have had problems finding common ground for decades, and they have different positions on many issues, climate policies, for example, the Europe policies. They have different issues on refugees, on certain aspects there. There are also differences among the possible coalition partners. I'll just mention one aspect, for example, the CSU, that's the sister party of Angela Merkel's CDU, has always said that they want a cap on the number of refugees arriving in Germany. Well, that's something that on the one hand Angela Merkel says she won't have, but also the Greens have said that it's a line they will certainly not cross. So what's coming in the next few months for Germany are very tough negotiations among the different possible partners, something that it's even unclear to what extent they might find common ground, although it's also important to say that in some areas, for example, digitalization, there are certain elements where they could work together.
That sort of confirms a position that by the German ambassador to Ghana that I spoke not long ago, about the fact that the AFD, which has gained seats in parliament at the moment,